Hey DIYers, I'm George from Alarm Grid. Today we're going to be discussing how to disable the auto stay arming feature on a Honeywell VISTA alarm. Now let's get a little bit into what the auto stay feature does. It's basically a setting in the system which when you arm away, if no entry or exit door has been tripped, then the system reverts to an arm stay. The reason for that being is logically, if an entry exit has not been tripped, then it knows that nobody has left the house, so the system automatically sets it to an arm stay. Now, the reason it does that is because when you do an arm away, it activates any motions that you may have learned into the system. So if you do an arm away and you activate the motions, but you never left the house, then you're more than likely going to get a false alarm, especially if you walk by one of those motions and if the system actually does an arm is in an arm away state. So that's why the feature is enabled by default to an arm stay, so that it's enabled to cause or to prevent false alarms. Now, as helpful as it is, it also causes some issues for users who's the first time using an alarm system. It gets kind of confusing for them because they're doing an arm away and they're wondering, hey, why does my system keep going to an arm stay? Well, the reason for that, again, because no entry or exit has been tripped, so they get frustrated. So you guys want to make sure that if you are testing the system and you're doing an arm away and it keeps going back to an arm stay, is because of this auto stay feature. Now, granted, this is the feature that you can disable on the system. It does need to be disabled through the programming, which I'm going to show you guys how to do it. It's actually going to be star 84. All right. So first thing we want to do is go ahead and go over to our keypads. I'm going to be using a 6160. You can also, if you have a 6150, since this is deep level programming, it's always best to use the 6160, but if you do not have one, this is a setting that you can change on the 6150. But if you change it, be careful because you don't want to mess any other settings up with the 6150. Since that is only a fixed English keypad, it only shows you numerical values and it doesn't actually show you what field you're in or anything like that. It'll show you the number of the field, but it doesn't actually show you the writing. So if you guys are using 6150, just be careful. It's always best to use a 6160, and I'll show you guys why. So let me go ahead. Right now it's showing a system low battery. Just going to leave that like that. Now I'm going to go ahead and go into my programming screen, which is installer code 800. All right. My installer code is defaulted at 4112, so you want to make sure that you use your correct installer code. So I'm going to enter in 4112800. Immediately it shows installer code 20 on the 6160. If you have a 6150, it would just show 20. All right. Now from here we go to star 84. Star 84 is the auto stay feature, and you'll see here it says auto stay, and the field is 84. On a 6150, it would just have the number 84 up there. Now, if you guys want to disable the auto stay feature, you just enter in 0. If you want to enable it for partition 1, you enter in 1. If you want to enable it for partition 2, you enter in 2. If you want to enable it for all the partitions, you enter in the number 3. I'm going to enter in 0. Switches it to 0, and then it jumps over to the next field. I'm going to go ahead and just exit out of here. All right. And now, if I arm my system away, I can arm it away. And since the auto stay feature is open, I do not have to open an entry exit door. So right now I do have a wired front door contact lured into the system. I'm going to leave it closed the whole time. I'm not going to open it or trip it. And you'll see that the system will go to an arm away. So enter my master code. My default is 1234. Yours may be different, of course. And then the number 2 for away. And at the end of this countdown, since the auto stay feature is disabled, the system will go into an arm away. Couple more seconds. And you'll see that the system is now armed away. If the auto stay feature was on, it would have gone into an auto stay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and disable the system for now. And that is just a quick walkthrough on how to disable the auto stay feature on the Vista system. If you guys do have any questions, feel free to email us at support@alarmgrid.com. If you guys found this video helpful, make sure that you hit like underneath, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and enable notifications so that whenever we upload new content, you guys do get notified. Thank you. I'm George. I'll see you guys next time.